And welcome again to the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. We do this every Wednesday. It comes out again, brand new show, Wednesdays at noon at TomTaylorSports.com. And we shoot this show and talk about Cyclone football. And, Coach, here we go, my friend. A Thursday night, senior night ball game. And we'll get into the highlights here in a few minutes of a big win to the final score, of course, of 47-14 over Northview Academy. And a special night, Citizens Bank Stadium still undefeated, senior night, a lot of pomp and circumstance, and the bottom line is you got a big win.
Well, we got off to another great start. I think we scored on our first drive in 3 plays. Just real excited about where our seniors came out. Our guys, short week, 1 day less preparation, and man, we really played good football. The first half, we had 40 points up just really quick. Offense and defense, we were really clicking. Twice we held them on a 4th down conversion, which was a big stop, give us great field position. And I tell you, we liked the matchup coming into the game. They gave us some good coverages, and man, our receivers and our offensive line, pass protection, Hunter was on target all night, over 300 yards passing again. And I tell you, just really proud the way we closed out the season. Just phenomenal execution by our guys, and just really proud to say we're conference champs. Our guys, the last 5 weeks have really turned it up a notch, and I tell you, just can't say more enough about our guys and the way we played this year.
All this, quite frankly, with what we would probably term a pretty young football team, right?
It is. I tell you, just the guys we've had on the field, and a number of guys continue to step up. And really the thing is, too, the number of guys that are playing their really first varsity year of football. A lot of guys were playing JV and not really in many of the games last year, and the way that they've grown up and matured and really developed. Credit to our coaches working those guys. We had to replace 3 offensive linemen, a tight end. Everything. Everybody knows Ethan Thomas was probably 85% of our offense over the last 4 years, and just when you lose Caleb Jones, where do we turn to? But you could go right down. Connor Johnson, the guy outside linebacker receivers, brand new. Alex Norwood. We've talked about him, a number of guys on the show. Chandler Mullins, Luke White, Russell Carter at right tackle. Garrett Jennings at tight end. We mentioned this guy the last couple of weeks, Logan Norman. He's been a big play guy for us. And then another guy that's really come on late is, he had some big games early. I thought during the middle of the season he kind of hit that freshman wall a little bit, but the last 2 or 3 weeks, Corey Russell's been phenomenal. Very dynamic football player with the ball. And then, a guy like Hunter Tyree, guy been in a program for 3 years. He's waited his turn. He's not had many snaps underneath the center on Friday night. And then, the year he's turned out, you can't say enough about our kids.
All these guys and more will be in the highlights package coming up next. Again, it's the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. Again, every Wednesday, brand new show. TomTaylorSports.com is where you can go. We thank you because the numbers continue to go up as far as folks watching. What we're finding is not just necessarily Cyclone fans, but just football fans in general. Plus, all the coaches shows we've done prior to this week are archives. You can go back and watch all the highlights of all the different games of a very, very successful season so far for the 5th-ranked Elizabethton Cyclones. Quick break. We'll come right back. We'll break down the highlights package. A lot of kids got in on the scoring last Thursday night when they won 47-14 over the Northview Academy Cougars. Come back with us as you're watching the Shawn Witten Coaches Show.
Trucks, 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 and more trucks. At Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, we have Silverado trucks everywhere with discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on select Silverado All-Star Crew Cabs. 15 Spark, $10,995. 15 Sonic, $12,995. 15 Track, $17,995. 15 Equinox, $29,995. Shop us online 24/7 and don't forget our Saturday service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where they leave you asking, how do they do that?
Whether lying on the beach, just working in your yard, or watching NASCAR racing this weekend in Bristol, your skin needs protection from the harmful effects of the sun. Blue Lizard Sunscreen delivers broad-spectrum SPF 30-plus protection that comes with smart bottle technology. Our bottle changes colors in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. It's the brand most recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide, plus it's made right here in the Tri-Cities. Blue Lizard Sunscreen, we've got you covered. Welcome back to the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. Again, this is not Coach Witten, this is Coach Abel, and we're glad she is here to talk to us about cross country. We had you on last week's show, and you said we're going down to regional, and we hope to do well, and you did. Now we get ready for the state this week in Metro Nashville. But set us up again. What happened last week regional?
The girls went out last week with a game plan of taking home a regional championship. That was their goal. We set individual goals to have 4 girls in the top 10, and we were successful in that. We actually had 4 girls in the top 9. That allowed us to be very safe for even once our 5th place runner came in. We had points to spare. We ran to the best of our ability. They each had goals in terms of time and in terms of place at each mile marker, and I felt that they conquered each of those smaller goals 1 mile at a time, and I really think that them focusing on that and them running together as a team and working together as a team is what led to them being so successful. We had Heather Fuchenberger, she was 4th. Macy Shell was 5th. Emily Schubert was 7th, and Lauren Pilkton was 9th. And then rounding out our top 5 scorers, Michaela Newman was 23rd. With those 5 girls, we had a score of 48. And in cross country, the lower your score, the better. And so UH finished 2nd with 73, and then Ellen and STEM were right behind them at 76. And so those 3 teams will move on to the state meet, which is next Saturday, the 7th, at Percy Warner Park in Nashville.
This Saturday, oh boy! And so you've been there before. It's not like some teams they just want to get to the state, whatever sport they're in. So you've been there before. You know what to expect, and these girls should be primed to go down and really do well.
They really should. Last year, we were 2nd in the region, and we therefore qualified the whole team to state. But by the time, even through regionals, and definitely by the time we got to the state meet, we were running on the end of our legs. We ended up only running 5 girls at the state meet last year. One of those 5 was an alternate. 2 of our top 5 girls didn't even run in the state meet last year due to injuries. So this is a different year going in. Everybody's doing okay. We have a couple minor, aches and pains that you always deal with runners, but we expect to run our top 7 girls, and I expect my top 5 to push to score as low as possible. Ideally, anywhere in the top 10 teams, I think I'd be proud. There's usually about 20 to 24 competing at the state meet. If we could reach into the top 5 range, I think we could call that a highly successful season. Cross country is different, and so the goal isn't to always be the number 1 team. It's to be better than you were the previous season or the previous race. We do have a couple girls that are shooting to be in the top 15, which is all state honors. So those are some individual goals we have set as well.
You pretty excited?
I'm very excited. It's a lot of work to organize a trip with this many kids all the way across the state, but I think we have everything in place, and we leave Friday morning, and we're looking forward to having a really nice trip.
So you'll come back next week and give us a report, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Wanted to come back. And again, well, good luck to you. Give me some taters.
Thank
you.
Good
luck to you. And again, we'll take a quick break. We want them to do well. Again, another facet of Elizabethton Athletics doing very well. Of course, the band has won awards here in the fall with the competitions. And, of course, football team we've talked about and getting ready to talk about again and what they're getting ready to do in the postseason. And so the cross-country team, good luck to them, representing Elizabethton and Northeast Tennessee this weekend coming up in Nashville. Coming up next, we will come back, and Coach Witten will rejoin us, and we'll run through the highlights package, their big win over Northview Academy. Come back with us on the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. Whether lying on the beach, just working in your yard, or watching NASCAR racing this weekend in Bristol, your skin needs protection from the harmful effects of the sun. Blue Lizard Sunscreen delivers broad-spectrum SPF 30-plus protection that comes with smart bottle technology. Our bottle changes colors in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. It's the brand most recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Plus, it's made right here in the Tri-Cities. Blue Lizard Sunscreen. We've got you covered. And welcome back to the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. Again, every Wednesday, brand new show at noon at TomTaylorSports.com, and all the previous coaches shows, as we said before the break, are there for you to watch, and they're going to be there. It's video and audio on demand, which is I was going to say the wave of the future, but it's the wave of the present, because we do this, and again, you can go back and watch every single coaches show that's out there for you to enjoy the highlights like we're getting ready to watch. And Coach, I went back and counted 8 different Cyclones were part of the scoring spree Friday night, and it started early. You had some quick strikes, you had some sustained drives, you had 8 different kids involved in 2 different types of scoring.
Well, just really proud of the guy Alex Norwood's played great all year long. Had his first touchdown of the night, first touchdown of the year to say. But we've worked on trying to throw him some balls in the end zone. But we just really got off to a great. You got Jalen Smith over 6'2", Connor Johnson 6'1", and then Alex Norwood at 6'4". We really try to work those guys down in the red zone quite a bit, and just really proud at the way we continue to spread the football around. Multiple running backs playing big for us, multiple receivers stepping up big. Really proud of Jalen Smith and Drew on senior night having big nights, and they'll always remember those senior night games.
Absolutely. Let's get the highlight package started. It started early, only 50 seconds into the game. Hunter Tyree, the first of his 3 touchdown strikes, and it starts with one of the seniors, Jalen Smith. Set this play up, please.
Well, we called a little stutter route. Corner bit on the ball just enough on the pump fake, and Hunter did a good job of really throwing it up, and Jalen going to get it the highest point. But, it's kind of a little bit like a fade pattern, and we've gotten better at this play. We've had multiple highlights of this previously, and, just really proud. Jalen Smith was out of lineup against Chucky Doak. Got him back in the lineup, and he played extremely well.
That was the highlight number 1. The second highlight would go from a 50 seconds into the game quick strike to an 11-yard drive, or 11-play drive, I should say, capped off by a 1-yard run by Hunter Tyree, and again, the Hogs up front got it done.
Well, we did a good job, putting a drive together, and then, when you get the ball on the 1-inch yard line, we let Hunter get in there on a quarterback sneak. But we had big runs by Logan Norm. We had good runs by Corey Russell, good pass plays to get us down there, and it's really good for us to finish off a good drive. And there's another senior, getting a big touchdown on senior night.
So, again, a quick strike again. I put up quickly 14-0, and then you come right back, and Corey gets the 1-yard run, also capping off a long 9-play drive for the Cyclones.
Well, just anytime we get in that goal line set, is big for us. We had Scotty Oliver out of the lineup last week against Chucky Doak. He's back in the lineup, and, man, just the blocks these guys make is really good. And, good to see a lot of times we've had Jeremiah Turner, we've had Jacob Turner, we've had Logan Norman. Good to see Corey Russell get behind this goal line set and punch it in.
Here's an interesting statistic about this football game. The Turner boys have carried this team a lot of times offensively all season long. Thursday night put up 47 points, and neither one of those boys scores. That tells you the diversity of your team.
Yeah, both of those guys play both ways. They give us a lot of great minutes on both sides of football. Northview came in throwing the ball quite a bit, so we wanted to get those guys as much playing time on defense as we could to kind of, we don't get a passing team very often, and so, this was a really good game for our defense alignment on the pass rush. Both of those guys do a good job, and hopefully, if we're able to go down the road, we know there's a passing team that we're going to face, and so we wanted to get those guys much look as we could on defense.
We're talking to Coach Shawn Witten, the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. Again, TomTaylorSports.com is where you find it. New show out every Wednesday, thanks to our producer, Robert Kale. Coaches, go right back to the highlight package. Connor Johnson, yet another Cyclone, in on the scoring spree on Thursday night, and the second touchdown pass of the night from Hunter.
Well, this was just throwing underneath the coverage, but really we've worked hard all year long on breaking tackles. It's one of those things that we've seen previously on our shows and our highlight films is guys breaking tackles, yards after the catch has been phenomenal this year. It's one of those areas of emphasis we work each and every day at practice, but really great to see guys, after they catch that football, they turn it up, and they do a good job of finding the end zone.
You mentioned Norwood earlier in the show. Here comes his touchdown catch, an 18-yarder from Hunter, and again, great athleticism by Alex Norwood.
It was, a guy that's big, he's a receiver defensive lineman. How many of those do you get? As a guy that's very athletic, he's made a lot of plays for us the last couple of weeks, and I was just really proud to see him get his first touchdown of his career, and he did it on breaking 2 or 3 tackles. So just proud of him. It shows us, if Norwood, as big as he is, can catch the ball, get upfield, then a lot of our guys can. But it shows us that how we're, even though we're a young team like we mentioned before, how deep we are at some positions. We do have some guys that can step up and make a lot of good plays for us, and it's just exciting to see any time a guy scores his first varsity touchdown. at the final to close out the final regular season game. It's just it's really a big moment for us.
For all the offense we had again last Thursday night, here's a great defensive pick again by Drew Bowers, and again another great example of athleticism to get this interception, return it for a touchdown.
Well, Drew's been a big player for us. He leads our defense in the secondary. He's a guy that we rely on heavily to get us lined up correctly, and like we mentioned before, it's a big night for our secondary. Just to be able to cover a lot of people and be on the field trying to make some plays. Drew Bowers went up and got a great interception. The guys were blocking for him as he headed to the end zone, and just that's a big play for us. Gives us a lot of confidence, especially our defensive line, our front seven has done a great job all year long, playing wing T teams, power running teams. Bristol's heavy running game, but really proud of the way our secondary really showed up, and Drew's the leader of that bunch.
Of course, it's also a credit to your coaching staff too.
Well, those guys got to make plays. We coach them hard during the week, and those guys go out there and do a good job. But it just goes back to senior leadership. It's a big night for the seniors. Drew have over 100 yards receiving. He had a big touchdown interception for us, and it just really gives our team boost as we head into the postseason.
That's why I love this guy. He always downplays he and the coaching staff, gives all the credit to the kids, and that's a class act. But again, it's the old work your plan and plan your work, work your plan. So these kids got to respond to the coaching strategies they come up with each week, and it obviously works. Coach, final highlight of the show of the game: Logan Norman 6-yard run.
Well, Logan's been a guy that's been the last couple of weeks he's been on fire. We just wanted to get him some another good touchdown. I feel like our team is in the best position possible heading into the postseason, and that's what you can ask for. Got all guys playing at a high level. We got Corey playing a number of positions. We had the Turner brothers getting a lot of defensive snaps. Jalen Smith in our lineup. There's Norman, who's probably just the most consistent person on our team. You know what he's going to bring to the table. He brings it every day in practice, and his response after the game when he talked to the media after the game is, "Hey, I just do what the coaches asked me to do." So it's a fine young man, and we're just proud of the way Norman's really come on. But I tell you, big night for our football team. You mentioned 8 different guys scoring, but the most consistent bunch on our team is our offensive linemen. The way that over the last 5 years we've been an 85% running football team. Here we come into this year, we got some guys that we hope we can make some plays on the edge. But the way our offensive line has played this year, it's phenomenal. The last 5 weeks, we've been throwing the ball quite a bit. The way those guys have been able to switch a little bit from a more of a run team to kind of pass protection, you give those guys up front a lot of credit.
Hunter Tyree, speaking of throwing the ball, Thursday night, 20 out of 26 for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns. Drew Bowers, 8 catches, 136 yards. And so when it's all said and done, Coach, you lose to Zionsville to start the season, then you run the table. You're 9-1 heading into the playoffs. And I guess as we go to the break here and come back and talk about the playoffs, safe to say that you feel like your football team's clicking?
Well, we wanted to put ourselves in the best situation possible. We want to be, you got to be playing well. I tell you, we've been fortunate. Our team has been as healthy as it can be a lot of times this year, but the biggest thing is, Tom, we don't turn the football over very often. I mean, we practice that, we preach it. Our guys take a lot of pride in it. Hunter makes sure he's accurate where he's throwing the ball. He knows where he's going with it. Our running backs, a lot of times when you're rotating different guys in the game, but our timing's very good. We've had a couple bad snaps through the course of the year, but not a lot. But we take pride in taking care of the football on defense. We want to create a lot of turnovers, and just really proud of the way we are. Basically, what we want to do is give ourselves the best chance to be able to compete at the postseason, and our guys have done everything we've asked them to do.
As we go to the break, the second season starts this week. Again, reminding everybody that all playoff games across the state are 7 o'clock kickoffs instead of 7:30 because of the travel involved, including opening round opponent. Scott County's traveled a long way to battle the 5th-ranked Cyclones. We'll talk about that right after you see this. Again, come back with us on the Shawn Witten Coaches Show.
Trucks, 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 and more trucks. At Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, we have Silverado trucks everywhere with discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on select Silverado All-Star Crew Cabs. 15 Spark, $10,995. 15 Sonic, $12,995. 15 Track, $17,995. 15 Equinox, $20,995. Shop us online 24/7 and don't forget our Saturday service hours. Champion Chevrolet on the Motor Mile in Johnson City, where they leave you asking, how do they do that?
Whether lying on the beach, just working in your yard, or watching NASCAR racing this weekend in Bristol, your skin needs protection from the harmful effects of the sun. Blue Lizard Sunscreen delivers broad-spectrum SPF 30-plus protection that comes with smart bottle technology. Our bottle changes colors in the presence of UV rays, reminding you to cover up. It's the brand most recommended by pharmacists and dermatologists nationwide. Plus, it's made right here in the Tri-Cities. Blue Lizard Sunscreen. We've got you covered. Welcome back to the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. Again, new show every Wednesday at noon. Simply go to TomTaylorSports.com, and there it is. And again, thanks to just football fans in general. Again, we do 3 different shows, and we're finding a lot of folks just want to go and check out each show we do with Stacy Carter and Graham Clark and, of course, Coach Witten. So, again, TomTaylorSports.com is the place to go. Coach, we open up the playoffs, and, again, you go in as the number 1 seed, and you take a look at what's going to be happening with the playoffs here in 3A football. And me give credit to other schools from Northeast Tennessee. Johnson County plays at CAK Friday night. Pigeon Forge will be hosting Kingston, and Unicoi County, the Blue Devils. What a job Glenn White's done. Got them in the playoffs for the first time since 1996, playing at Alcoa. It's a tough place to go and play. However, you're playing, and a nice testament to he and his kids. Folks, remember, going back last year, they changed coaches middle of the season or early in the season, so a lot of upheaval. And credit those 3 teams representing the Mountain 8 Conference. And, of course, we're going to talk about the Cyclones with Scott coming to town. And they're a 5-5 football team. Give us a scouting report on that.
Well, Scott's a really good football team. They come in at 5-5, as you mentioned, but they play in a really good league. Playing against CAK and Alcoa, it's 2 of the better teams. Ranked 1 and 4 in the state all year long. And then we were fortunate. We played them 2 years ago in the playoffs up here, and we beat them 27-20. So it's a good football team. Had a chance to really go watch them play on Friday and get a good scouting report on them. But they got a really good dynamic quarterback, 2 or 3 good playmakers on offense. Got 2 or 3 linemen have got some good size. I tell you, the best part about them, I think, is they got 2 inside linebackers, probably as good as we're going to see all year long. Number 3 and number 4 really do. They're big. They're strong inside. You mentioned they just it's an older bunch. Guys have been around. They were 7-3 a year ago. They've been a 4A team like we were the last 2 years. So they've played at a high level. They opened up last year in the playoffs against Fulton. So they've played very good competition. They've played CAK and Alcoa every year. They played Fulton a year ago. So we're trying to get ourselves ready and make sure that we represent the number 1 seed.
Again, they have won games over Sunbright, Granger, Union County, and a 2-game winning streak over Loudon and McMinn Central to end the season on a 2-game streak. They've lost to Austin East, Christian Academy, or CAK, Alcoa. Also, they've lost to Kingston and Seymour. So a 5-5 football team. What do you got to do to beat them Friday night?
Well, I think our defense is going to be the key for our success Friday. Our defensive line has got to really get back, playing good football and being a nitty-gritty defense. Preston Whitehead in the middle. They're a team they're a spread football team, up-tempo type team. They do a good job, mix and match, but I think the quarterback's a dynamic kid that can run and throw it. So our defensive line has really got to control the football game and really – they got a big back and then a speedy back that they bring in. But I tell you, our defensive line is our, the next couple weeks, if we're able to advance, if those guys can really be disruptive in the front, it really gives us a big chance. But I think that anytime you get postseason play, you got to rely on what you got here. And our defensive line, our offensive line are our strengths this year where we're running or throwing offensively. But, Caleb Whitehead, Mark Chester, on our left side are 2 senior offensive linemen, Johnny Ray Woodby, Cameron Coleman. We've talked about Alex Norwood a bunch, Scotty Oliver at fullback and at the nose tackle. Those are 5 or 6 names that if those guys can play at a high level, we're going to have a lot of success in the playoffs. But it's a physical football game in the playoffs. You gotta get out and set your identity early, and if those 5 guys can, I tell you, it's going to be a great night for the Cyclones.
Got to be a big advantage because you're playing here at Citizens Bank Stadium. They've got to travel. We talked earlier in the season how you made the long trip on the bus, and of course now in the playoffs, a lot of teams are going to be traveling. But again, there's I don't think you can put a price tag on coming out here, having your own place, not having to get on an old school bus and ride, or a Greyhound and ride 2 or 3 hours to a football game. So big advantage by playing at home.
Well, it is. Like we've talked about before, you keep your routine the same. And you don't have to leave school early, and fight all that. But I tell you, we're just, you put yourself in best situation possible. We're home field, all the way through if we continue winning. But it's just anytime you can get a team out of their normal environment, it gives yourself. There's always a chance you have there. We've played really well the last couple of weeks here, and but just proud of our guys, proud of our seniors. The way that our group has really played all year long has been fantastic. But there's the credit can go to a lot of our kids on our football team. But Tom, it goes back to how unselfish we've been this year. Senior night too, a number of guys stepping up and making plays. But just really proud of the football team, and hopefully we can keep it going. I tell you, there's a level you got to get to in the playoffs. Our guys came out yesterday and just had another mojo, had another level of they can just feel the playoffs. And so just really proud of our guys, the attention to detail, the work ethic. We mentioned unselfishness, but just really proud of them.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So see you next week.
Sounds
we'll be here
good.
next week.
All right,
We'll be here
good.
next week.
Sounds good.
Love this guy. I'm telling you what, it's awesome. I get the biggest kick out of coming over and hanging out with this gentleman because when you're around him, I guess it comes across in the camera. The passion is there for his football program, and it shows, and the proof's in the pudding. Again, losing to Science Hill, opening game, and ran the table. And so Friday night, Scott County comes to town, 7 o'clock kickoff. Again, everybody, the reserve seats will be honored, but tickets are $8 a pop, so that would be from the TSSAA. But the reserve seats will be in effect here at Citizens Bank Stadium, but you still got to pay $8 to get in. That's a TSSAA rule. So, hey, we will come back next week for another show and get ready for what we hope will be the second round of the playoffs at Citizens Bank Stadium here in Elizabethton. For producer Robert Kale, head coach Shawn Witten, I am Tom Taylor, reminding as always, as Coach Witten says, win or lose, be a good sport. Thanks for giving us another view and another listen on the Shawn Witten Coaches Show. So long, everybody.